living in here in Phoenix and having a shop years ago. I think I started my shop in '68, and then there's a lot of racing going on here in town and well-known people. Maybe one of them was Mary Andretti and Clint Brawner with the Andretti family. And Clint Brawner was here in town, had a shop over here in his house. And the shop was at a house, in the backyard of a house, but he didn't live there. He had a house full of parts and stuff. They had a nice garage in the alley on 7th Street and Bethenholm Road behind the Valley Bank. Some of the people would know that. Oh, yeah, behind the Valley. But he lived down the street a couple more houses. I'm not sure exactly where he lived.
Yeah.
But I used to go over there and visit him, and he used to come to my shop once in a while and buy a few things, and different things that I had. And one time I was over there, that was in probably 1971 or 72. They had some V8 Ford Indy cars there.
Wow.
And I remember the one I seen that I was looked at, I was impressed with how much safety wire they had on it. You know, the bolts all had wire in them, a safety wire, and it takes a little tool to put safety wire on them. It's the whole thing. And then the 302 Ford motor, he had one on the stand there that had a counterbalance built in the main bearing webs and a different pan on it. So there was a balance weight that ran right alongside the crankshaft. And we see some new Chevy motors that way with that counterbalance in there, but that was just a little rare thing. But anyways, I was there one time and I said, "What are you doing with this thing?" He says, "Somebody was making an intake manifold."
Okay.
And this is a aluminum manifold casting from somebody, and they did casting someplace this in town for Chevrolet V8. It's partly done.
Okay.
And I said, "What do you do with this?" And he says, "Well, we're just a partly done intake." And you can see, in those days, I think it probably was somebody here in town, and somebody was doing some experimenting and making this Hilborn injector light thing, Hilborn fuel. But I don't know if it probably was somebody's idea to put it on in the car, because Clint Brawner had it.
Yeah.
He said, "If you want that, you take it. We're not going to use it. You can have it."
Okay.
I said, "Well, gee, for a gift from you,
Yeah.
I'll take it. Hang it on the wall."
Sure.
5 minutes ago, I just took it off the wall and we looked at it.
That's right. It's been hanging on there
on one wall or the other. I had it in my shop
since '71.
Quite large. If they would sheen this out, and it'd have a pretty good sized injector, bigger than what was being made at the time.
Right. Now, what kind of engine would this be?
Chevy V8.
A Chevy V8.
Yeah, Chevy V8. Yeah.
Okay. That's
it has
interesting.
a distributor hole in the back here for distributor, reinforced a little bit, but it was a good casting. I thought, well, so it would be fairly easy to finish it, because you would possibly keep the stacks angled. He had a little bit of an angle to them, stuff like this. And the other thing that Clint used to come by and buy this little breather. I just happened to find one here. This is a breather, and he used to buy it for me because it wasn't two-pieced.
Okay, yeah. It
was a one-piece. And I don't think Moon made this, but I used to buy them from somebody else and put them on oil pans and valve covers. But he was interested because it was a one-piece casting. And he could weld this. I remember he telling me he welded them on some breather tanks and stuff on the Indy car.
Okay.
That's why he bought them from me. And there was a couple different ones, one about this long and one about 6 inches long. Today I just happened to find one.
Okay, and just to see what's going on there.
Yeah, it's just a breather hole.
Slotted out there.
Slotted here and there, slotted there.
Yeah.
And then some of the people made them, I think I have somewhere, that the top comes off, and you can put some filler in there. So there's a screen or maybe a cloth or something to control how much it vented.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of times if this was on oil, this wouldn't vent out. It would leak oil.
Oh, I see.
Because the oil would go in this thing and quite a flow of moisture, oil, it would probably drip oil.
Yeah.
So I think he put it on a vent. Maybe, I don't know what he put on. But he told me he welded them on containers on the car. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting.
Yeah, good thing. But I used to go to the races with him.
Uh-huh.
I see him at PIR one time. We were in the tower,
Uh-huh.
both sides, and we were laughing, and he had a stop clock watching the sprint car racing. I think it was some of the sprint car racing. That was the time that one of the guys here in town had a sprint car. And when my friends drove it, they put a big block Chevy in it.
Oh, big one.
And it was basically too heavy to race and do competitive with that motor in it. But he come over and borrowed a Hilborn fuel injection from me. I remember at the time, I think it was all our drag cars. He would come borrow that to race at PIR. And so I made him sign a paper. I says, I think it was $650. If he smashed it, he owes me $650. If not, he just brings it back and we're even.
Okay.
But they set fast time then, that weekend.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't competitive in the race
Okay.
because the car weighed too much. And Jerry Miller was the one who drove it in town, I think. And one of the other guys here in town had owned, I can't think of his name right now. But
Yeah.
Car. Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating. Well, a little bit of race history here.
Yeah.
That's really cool that you've hung on to that. And not only that, you've shared the memory of where this comes from, which is really an extra special thing.
Yeah, I have something else I want to show you too here.
Okay, great. Let's do it. What do we have here, Ed?
This is really an unusual cylinder. I have a pair of these heads.
Okay.
And they were given to me through another friend. And he said, did you want them? I said, sure, I would love to have them. I've had them for a few years. These are V6 Chevy heads off an Indianapolis car.
Really?
And the Indianapolis car, that V6 turbocharged, I think possibly still, they've increased that speed way over that one, but at the time it held speed record in the Indianapolis car. I don't know what the specifications were, but that was a pretty small cubic inch motor. It's still, Indy cars are still a small cubic inch.
Right.
So, but this happened to be aluminum head.
Yeah.
Off of it. I'm not sure it was modified or made exactly like that. You can see how big the valves are.
The intake valves are massive.
Yeah, they're huge.
Wow.
And the important part, come over on this side.
Yep.
Now, you can see that it's unusual here. It's got these ports in it for fuel injection.
Right.
And these are direct squirt right into the cylinder. Right in there.
Yep, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the spark plugs are here, fuel injection's here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if I even got that properly.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're actually squirting on top of the stem of the valve.
On the valve, yeah.
Yeah.
So then on this side, this probably looks like a stock Chevrolet head, but they machined it to put the exhaust pipe back down in the head, recessed it. On a turbocharged car then, anytime that you take this pressure away from the gasket surface,
exhaust gasket,
remove it, so all the pressure is not here, it's back down in the hole then, it won't blow the gasket.
Fascinating, of course.
We know that from other things that we can take intake exhaust and machine like this and it won't blow the exhaust gasket. And this would be on a turbocharged car where there's some pressure in that exhaust.
Pressure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great to point out. I would have not have caught that.
And there's the heads there. There's a Chevrolet number on them if you want to.
Yeah, there we go. HDAL 11678.
And there's another number right here.
One there. That's a really.
You might do something.
I might be able to find some
more
more
info. And this
info
is ported. Is how big it is ported. And then it does not have the exhaust heater here either.
Oh yeah.
You see how much they're ported out. But I have a pair of them.
Yeah, they've been really worked. There's a lot of machining got done there. Looks like.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh.
I can't think of the name of the people right now that they came from. They held records in Indianapolis, and I'm not sure if this came off one of the cars, or I'm sure that this time they probably had several sets of these heads.
Yeah.
But they just end up in Phoenix here, and this is one of them.
Well, technology moves on, and then they don't not want them anymore, right? They don't.
They were way over that thing, the turbocharged.
Huh. I still can't get over how big those valves are, and they've got a lot. Yep.
Yeah, they're huge.
They're just massive. How big around do you think those intakes are?
Over 2 inch.
Yeah.
A little over 2 inches.
Just barely over 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are massive. Wow. That's really cool, Ed. Thanks for showing us that. That is super cool. These are pushrod holes here?
These are pushrod holes.
Yeah, they've worked those a lot.
Yeah, probably for bigger pushrods. And also, sometimes there was a rev kit.
Okay.
And we've talked about in the Chevy V8s. And this would have been reinforced here, machined for that rev kit to be set on these knobs here. It has a aluminum plate here with holes in it, with the valve springs set on here, valve return springs that held the lifters on the engine.
Okay.
So that would have been machined here for that plate.
Okay.
You end up with this thing on here, with that same as those things.
Right. That's what that's
So
what it's
stabilize that
supporting
instead
it,
of tipping over, yeah.
Uh-huh.
The same way with the pushrod holes. They machined those all out.
They sure did. Wow. That is really cool.
Yeah.
And what about this? What do you think? You have any
That's
thoughts on-
water.
That's just your water jacket?
That's water jackets, yeah.
Mhm.
Looks like standard to me.
Yeah. Doesn't look like they did anything.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
That is very cool. Well, Ed, thank you
So-
for giving us a little bit of history
yeah, I
here.
don't know what they're worth, but
Well, it's good that you have two of them.
I have two of them, yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
good. If somebody needs them, maybe you'll be willing to sell them, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Here at Ring.
Yeah, I sure hear that ring. Okay.
Now this is John Force crank here.
Okay.
It rings a lot longer. Yeah.
That is interesting.
It's huge. I'll just for 2
Yeah.
seconds here.
Yeah.
This happens to be with the splines. This is a 2.5-inch main bearing,
Uh-huh.
and this is drilled through here to lighten it,
Yep. Look at that. Someone drilled it.
and all the way through the bottom of the center bore. The center core of the crank is drilled all the way out the end.
Wow. Yeah. Sure is.
Yeah. It has all these counterweights on that normally would not be on here.
It's weird if you're not stopping to look at it, you walk right by and not realize
Yeah.
what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And what would that go on?
Chrysler Hemi.
Chrysler
It'd
Hemi.
be like funny car.
Oh.
This is actually one of John Force's cranks,
Okay.
as far as I understand. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever put his name on or anything, but a friend of mine, supposedly John Force is a good friend of his,
Mhm.
and he asked, I'm tired of carrying this around, so take it with you. And he asked me, you know, somebody wants it. Yeah, I know. Sorry, guy would like to have it. That would be me.
Yeah.
So I've had it for several years.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. All right.
So